Okay, and we are back rolling for our live coverage of the T3 conference here in Dallas, Texas. And we have with us Bridget Grimes, who is the co-founder of Equita Financial Network.
Yep, that's right.
Bridget, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you know Seinfeld, right?
I do.
Are you a Seinfeld fan?
Kinda.
Kinda?
Yeah.
I'm a huge Seinfeld fan.
Okay.
Okay, so did you ever see the episode Tuck or No Tuck with George in the hotel?
I might have.
Okay. So there was an episode, I use this all the time. When it works great. If it doesn't, if the person doesn't know the episode, it falls a little flat. Hopefully someone in the audience does. It's an episode, George and Jerry are in a hotel room, and George is being neurotic as usual. Should he have the maid tuck in the bed or not tuck in the bed? So his question is my same question to you, tuck or no tuck. Meaning, when someone wants to go RIA, there's really two main paths. There's a few more, some iterations, but two main paths. Either start your own, or buy your own, I guess, or tuck in, right? So the question is tuck or no tuck. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? What are the pros and cons?
Sure. So since I have my own financial planning firm, I can totally speak to this. I would say, yeah, if you do it on your own, awesome. You know, it's all you. You have to do compliance. You have to do your trades. You have to come up with your own portfolio management solution. You have to serve your clients. You have to do financial planning. I don't know how you do that and grow and also do really good client work. So, yep, that's totally an option. You know, state registration, or if you're big enough, SEC registration. So that is totally an option. Or you can choose to tuck into a firm like Equita.
Right.
And so I'm a huge fan of that. It's part of why we launched it. And it's been amazing for my own financial planning firm.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm a big believer that, you know, anyone that wants to go RIA should. And there's a ton of resources out there. And if you want to build your own, and a lot of folks out there are like, well, you need a billion or 500 million. Here's what I say to that. If you have a laptop and a dream, you can build your own RIA, because there are so many, and I'm looking around at all the resources here at T3, so many people are here, so many vendors to help you start your own RIA if you want. Mm-hmm. But make sure you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not as easy as getting your business card done, right? There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But it's doable. But here's the good news. If you want to have the independence of the RIA space, own your own book like you do in the RIA space, you could do so. And here's how I like to position that. If you're an advisor, let's say you want to go the wirehouse route, you probably have 5 good choices. If you want to go the independent broker-dealer route, you probably have a dozen good choices. But if you want to plug in to another existing RIA, I would say there's 200-300 good choices. Equita is one, if I may say Sovereign is one. There's a lot of great choices out there. Mm-hmm. And my point is, if you have 200 or 300 good choices to tuck into an existing RIA, chances are you're going to find one that's about 98% equal to what you would have built yourself. Is that correct or false?
Fair. No, I think it's true. And like you said, there's a lot of places to choose from. I think it's a question of what's that tech stack look like that you want. Yeah. Absolutely right. And you know, you mentioned here at T3, I'll tell you, most of our partners are here. Most of the folks who comprise our tech stack are here, which is exciting. Great partners, right? I mean, you build a stack with folks who do great work, and you know, you're always looking to see, are there ways where we could do better work? Are there other solutions? But this is a great place to do that sort of research. You know, I would say when it comes to finding the right fit for someone who's decided, yes, I do want to have my own firm, you know, get out there and find, is there a place that does have a tech stack that resonates with me, right? That I like, that's most of what I want to use or am using. And is there a community of other advisors in this community, you know, this RIA, who are like me? And I say that because I think community is a huge part of this. Yeah, in particular with Equita, we are a community of women-led, fee-only RIA, CFP-run firms throughout the country.
Yep.
Now, some of these firms started with 0 AUM, and we helped these folks build the business that they want. So really cool. The first firm member, we call them, on our platform started 5 years ago and is at 150 million of AUM.
Nice.
Brand spanking new.
Yep.
But this is where you know because of your firm, that if you have this robust support group behind you, if you can delegate away all of these different tasks, then you can focus on scaling your firm and serving your clients.
Amen to that. So I do a lot of these at a lot of different conferences, and I was at one last year, and this was more of a panel setting I was on. And I was with another person who had a firm similar to mine, similar to yours. It was a tuck-in firm. And the first question was, why should, an advisor pick your firm? And, she went first. And I still have to this day, I'm not going to say who it was. And her answer was, because we have a high payout. And I was like, no kidding. Do you have laptops too? I mean,
right? Hello. Right.
High payout, that's like table stakes.
Absolutely.
You need to have other value-added services, support, a TAMP, all types of things. We're actually launching a tender offer fund for our advisors next month. So if you don't have anything above and beyond just a high payout,
right.
Everyone has a high payout. So talk a little bit, if you would, please. You have a female-only community. That makes it very unique and very appealing, I think, to a lot of people. What else do you offer as far as I'm sure you have a high payout as well. What else do you offer to your advisors?
Sure. So, when you talk about payout, Chuck, I would tell you it's whatever you want to pay yourself. So Equita is the way our platform is priced. There's a fixed fee that's paid quarterly in advance for fixed expenses, and then there's a variable fee, which is a basis points fee based on your AUM. Obviously, the bigger a firm gets, the more costs we have associated with that growth. Right? Great problem to have. But when it comes to whatever you're going to pay yourself, that's on you. You pay yourself whatever you want, knowing what your costs are to run that firm. So I'm a fan of whatever it is that you want to pay yourself, go ahead and do it.
Okay. That sounds good. So flexibility is what you're telling me here.
Yes.
Fantastic. So let's look forward a little bit. And let me just also give you some real good kudos. I think InvestmentNews, I know, they ranked you as one of the fastest growing RIAs in the country.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Way to go.
That's awesome.
That is very awesome. And I will say for me, they called me out as being the broker-dealer's most wanted. Or no, I have that wrong. It was really cool. They had like this old Western with being like most wanted. It was like most wanted by broker-dealers because I don't bash the broker-dealer space, right? But I'm honest about the broker-dealer space. And let me share my thoughts on where I think the broker-dealers are going to be in 10 years, and you keep me honest if you think it's the right way to go.
Okay.
I think the broker-dealers have a very, very, very important role to play in creating and delivering products. They do great at that, and they will always do that, forevermore, I believe. Where they fall short, in my opinion, is delivering advice.
Absolutely.
Advice should only come from a fiduciaries, and fiduciaries live in the RIA space.
Amen.
Yeah, I feel I'm preaching to the choir, but how can anyone argue with that?
They can't.
They
well,
can't.
As someone who started, I had been a trader a million years ago for hedge funds in Manhattan when I first started.
Yep.
Left in finance and then came back years later, and I started at a wirehouse.
Yeah.
Full disclosure.
There's no shame in that.
Nope. All good. Because I didn't know any better, and that's true. But so spent a couple years there and realized that this was not why I got into this, right? Because I do believe exactly what you said. This is advice driven.
Yeah.
This industry is advice driven. If you don't know what you're doing and if you are not equipped to provide advice, you should not be in this industry, and you should be held to the standard of a fiduciary. Absolutely.
And they bend themselves over backwards to be everything but a fiduciary.
Yep.
Just say you want to be a fiduciary or you don't. And there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with product sales, right?
This is true.
If you're selling a product to someone who's going to make their own decision. The problem, in my opinion, I was trying to be very legally conscious here, is simply this. The consumer thinks they're getting advice when they go into one of those offices.
That's right.
When in fact they're not, they're being sold a product. Now, I talk to wholesalers all the time. They all have Series 7s. They're all essentially acting as a broker-dealer, but I'm sophisticated. I could discern between a good product and, if I may, a crap product. I'm a professional. So I should deal with a broker-dealer, and that's how I position myself with my clients. And I think you guys would probably be the same thing, is I am protecting my clients from Wall Street. Do you feel the same way?
I do. I also feel that it's impossible to come up with an investment solution unless you know what you're solving for.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you start with the planning, right? You start with the advice. You start with the introspection of like, what's the story? What is this client trying to actually achieve? What do they have to work with? What are the gaps? And then what do we think that the actions are that they should take? You can't put them in an investment if you don't know what you're solving for.
This is like a mutual admiration society going on here. It's like, I'm trying to make it somewhat of an interview, but we agree on so much of everything, obviously.
That's not a bad thing.
It is not a bad thing at all. And I think it's going to get better. And where I think the wirehouse space in particular is going to go, they're going to start becoming the largest wirehouses out there. I'm sorry, the largest RIAs out there, because they're already becoming very fee-oriented. Mm-hmm. And I think this is my opinion, they're grasping onto that commission business while it's there. Mm-hmm. But here's what I tell younger advisors, right? Let's say you have that 25-year-old advisor who at some point is going to be a 50-year-old advisor, and they're going to be dealing with 50 and 60 and 70-year-old clients who were, 25 years old today. Mm-hmm. That client in the future is not going to buy an annuity with a 10% commission. It is not going to happen. It still is happening today. In my opinion, it shouldn't. But it is, but those consumers are going to be so much better educated on the idea of fiduciary versus non-fiduciary advice that these wirehouses will not go away. It'll be, XYZ RIA. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and I hope you're right, because I'll tell you, I have a client who I engaged with a couple years ago, and we have been trying to unwind a series of annuities that they have purchased. We're talking millions of dollars of garbage. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we have analyzed them upside down. There are no redeeming qualities to these investments. And what's a total bummer is they were sold by an unscrupulous broker who these folks trusted. And it is such a shame. And this is a guy who gets to hold himself out as, a financial advisor.
Yep.
Our industry.
Yep.
And this guy also
a lot of them have CFPs too. I've seen this.
Oh, this one did not. But
I've
he
seen
does, which is still, that's even more egregious in my opinion.
Without
right?
question.
Yeah, and so I truly hope that where we are now in educating people and having them understand what is and is not okay, hopefully we will be at that place when, I have a young planner on my team, 27 years old, happens to be my daughter.
Okay.
I hired her last year, but she is serving peers, and they're the young adult children of our clients. Mm-hmm. And these kids, if you will, these young adults are learning what financial planning really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We call them KOCs.
You do? Which is what?
Kids of clients.
Kids. Oh, there you go. All right.
I love acronyms, by the way.
I like that too. So we got those KOCs, and we are educating them.
Yeah, good.
And this is what you should expect. This is the kind of analysis that you should expect. These are the questions you should be asking when you're trying to get someplace. And I think that's hope, right? Let's hope that this young group does, as they age, does demand more.
They will. They will. Because I think they're growing up more skeptical of our industry, and for good reason. And do you know Knut Rodstead?
No.
Okay, you should. I'll connect you guys. So Knut, I believe, was the founder of the Institute for the Fiduciary Standard.
Okay.
Right. So he's a big proponent. He's been on the podcast a lot, and I was on his, and I coined this term because I love acronyms, called a Pinot, right? Not the delicious type that you drink with a nice steak or something, but a Pinot in this context is a planner in name only. Mm. And what I do love about acronyms, and I really do mean this, is it helps bring a spotlight to a concept. So rather than explaining what you just explained, you tie that to that acronym, and someone keeps hearing Pinot, planner in name only, and that's going to start helping. Because I got to be honest with you, I don't think the regulators are doing a good enough job to help clients discern between a fiduciary advisor and a non.
So I would agree, and it's interesting. Last year we put together a client advisory board at my firm. And one of the questions our marketing team asked, and they facilitated the conversation, right? This was, we really wanted to know why these folks worked with us, ways we could do better. These are our favorite, best clients, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Exactly who we serve in our niche. And it was really interesting. Some very basic questions were asked, and one was, do you realize that Bridget and Wealth Choice are fiduciaries? And what does that mean to you? And I have worked with some of these clients for 15 years. And I had one say, tell me more about what that means.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, so this is why we took it out of our content on our website, because that's just not what it's like reading a foreign language. But this is where we have to be able to explain in plain English to folks what they should be looking for. What is a fiduciary? And why should everyone in this space be a fiduciary? What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
And I think we need to do better at that.
That's what I'm getting at. So I think it's upon us, on us as the industry, to educate
Absolutely.
the clients. They need to understand, because there's no way a client, once they understand the difference, the very real difference between a fiduciary and a non-fiduciary, who in the world would choose a non-fiduciary once they know? It's impossible.
For sure. But the challenge is, like you said now, they kind of assume everybody has their best interest at heart, which should be the case in our industry, but is not the case. And then when you bring that up, people are absolutely, blown away that, oh no, I was working with a guy who doesn't have to put my best interests first.
It's eye-opening.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Let's leave on this, because we're coming up on time, and I'll share maybe a positive glimmer onto this situation. So I've been doing this for 30 years, and I recall when I first got my CFP, which was 26 years ago, and I was excited. And I broke off, to set up my own independent branch of Raymond James. I wasn't fully independent yet, right? As the IBD space is independence light, RIA is truly independent. Again, preaching to the choir. But I was excited. I'm independent-ish, but I am fully a fiduciary with the CFP. And I couldn't wait for my first prospect meeting to say, hey, just so you know, I'm working with you as a fiduciary. And back then, I would say that to 10 people, and let me go more. I say that to 100 people, and 98 would be like, so? Fast forward 26 some odd years, I am very glad to say, without question, at least 1 out of 3 prospective clients that are coming into the office now are asking, are you a fiduciary? So that's progress.
So that's great progress. The CFP board should be really happy to hear that.
Yes, and they do a good job with it.
They do.
They are, and I consider them part of the industry, of course. And I think Kevin has been, I know he's retiring this year, but he's done a great job. I remember when he put in that big, I think it was a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, it was.
And I pinged him immediately. I was like, Kevin, more. That's what we need, is that level of consumer education, and that's going to benefit the consumers, and of course it's going to benefit what I would like to call the good guys, us.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're doing great work.
Okay, maybe put a pin in it there.
Yeah. Listen, thanks for this.
Thank you so much, Bridget. It was a real pleasure, as I knew it would be.
Yeah.
And so stay tuned. We have one more to go as we wrap up our coverage of T3 in Dallas. We'll be back in about an hour. Thanks for joining us. And Bridget, thanks again. That was great.
You're welcome.